Hi everybody, how are you doing today? I'm happy to be checking in with you. I wanted to share with you something I've been thinking about a lot this week. Dana and I give a training, a small training in Seattle last week to a group of healthcare providers, mostly eating disorder professionals, and they were wanting to explore how to be braver in their work. And I think this is such an interesting topic, particularly in the eating disorder community, because the more time I spend with people in the eating disorder community, which is a lot of time in my career, the more I notice how a lot of us, because of our own histories maybe with eating and perfectionism, have such trouble leaning into the vulnerability that it just is a big part of being a professional and being a human in this world. So one thing we always talk about is how, we don't get to opt out of vulnerability. We just don't, as humans, get to opt out of vulnerability, but we put so much energy in to trying to opt out. I do all the time. I have an old thought pattern. I don't know if I'll ever let go of it because I like it so much. But it's the one that says, oh, things are good now. Things are good now. I'm doing good. I'm doing good at that. I'm taking care of that. Checking things off my list. I'm eating well. Things are good now. And the thing is that we never know. I mean, what I mean really is that we don't really get to have that much control over whether things stay good or manageable or the way we want them to be, and we put a lot of effort into it. For instance, one of the reasons why this is coming up for me a lot right now is that last week an acquaintance of me and my husband lost their 17-year-old son unexpectedly. Maybe a suicide, nobody's saying. And it just, every time that happens, I remember that we don't know what's going to happen. That we can be going right along and never be able to anticipate the next thing that might come up in our lives. Like on the West Coast, an earthquake, right? Or the loss of someone in our lives. And, what do we do with that? What do we do with that knowing that we are frequently vulnerable? I'm aware that a lot of the times I've spent trying to control the size or shape of my body has been about that vulnerability, knowing I couldn't always control the actions of the people in my life, knowing that, I grew up in a family that tried to opt out of vulnerability all the time, just through numbing, mostly, but how shocking it was to me growing up in that environment to not know over and over again that vulnerability, that uncertainty was actually natural and part of being human and not my fault. It was actually a natural state, instead of trying to control it and make everything better and have, a successful life. So I'm thinking about this a little bit, and I'm feeling curious about it, and I often bring what I'm feeling curious about to these videos and to you guys because I'm wondering. One of the first things I say to clients when I start working with someone one-on-one in my office at Be Nourished is, I'm not here to take away anything you need. Meaning, if you need that binging behavior, if you need that purging behavior, if you need the alcohol, if you need the thing that's numbing you out, our work together is not about me stripping you of something you need. But oftentimes, our work is about figuring out if of what that thing is actually meeting your needs, and if it's truly protecting you from what you're using it to protect yourself with. So, deep thoughts with Hillary today. But as usual, I always want to hear your thoughts and reactions. If you're thinking about this vulnerability thing, I'd love to hear more. But there's one thing I want to leave you with before I go, is that even though vulnerability is scary and uncertainty is yucky and kind of terrible feeling, vulnerability is also the birthplace of creativity in our lives, of innovation, connection. We don't get those things without it. Not much of them. Not in a satisfying way. So I think before I go, I just wanted to give you a gentle reminder that there's a reason for vulnerability. That there's another side to it. Just like everything, I suppose, that has high value in our life. So, thoughts, reactions, questions? I'll be looking for them. Good to see all of you. Hope to